Hello, friends. This is Omar from ABC Podcast, the podcast you're listening to right now, so you'd probably know that. Hello, how's it going? Before we hop into Season 2 of ABCD, which is so exciting, thank you for getting us to Season 2. Before we do that, we actually have a special surprise for you. We have a bonus episode that we have not released until right now. This is an episode we recorded out at PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. This is so cool because this is actually our first remote on the street episode. With that in mind, some of the audio isn't perfect. You might hear some peas popping. You might hear a little bit of wind. We recorded on the convention floor. We recorded in hotel lobbies. We even recorded it in the airport. So, buckle in for that. But we are so happy to share this bonus episode with you. And after that, we are so excited to kick off Season 2 of ABCD. All right, but enough stalling. Let's get to our PAX Unplugged episode. Enjoy.
Welcome to a special edition of the ABCD podcast. We're on a little bit of a hiatus right now, but we're also at PAX Unplugged, so we thought, hey, let's do a special show. And we've got you, Omar.
Hi, it's me, Omar.
Oh my God, it is him. It's really him. It's not me doing a really great impression of him. And then we also have a special guest, my cousin Chetan.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. It's my first board game convention.
I was going to say, it's your first board game convention. Can you tell us, you just walked on the floor 5 minutes ago. What are your initial impressions of being at a PAX Unplugged and a board game convention?
Well, there's a lot of awesome nerd energy going around. There's a ton of games, including one that has an Indian auntie, which sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, let's explore that game. Should we talk to the people about that game right now?
Let's do it.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Omar, we were beckoned over to this booth at PAX because there's an Indian auntie.
That's right.
At the top of this billboard.
Yeah.
And who's it was like a cartoon character, and apparently she's a player character in this board game called Ravels. So we had to come check it out, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, when do you ever see that?
Never. I've never seen an auntie on a board game.
I know.
Honestly, that's
right.
Yeah, full truth.
I've never played with an auntie playing a board game.
Yeah.
So much less being in a board game.
I've never played as an auntie.
I never played as an auntie. So I was like, we have to find out, how do we play as an auntie? And is she, what are her superpowers? Passive aggression?
Yeah. Just aggression?
Oh, just plain aggression? I don't know, let's find out. So we're here with the Director of Communication. Sorry, remind me your name again?
My name is Lauren Nepomuceno Shales.
Yes. So please tell us about Neha, who is in a sari, who's got cast iron kettles in the background, and apparently she's a knitter. Tell us about this character.
Neha is a very important character. She has, each character in our travels has special abilities. Hers is the color specialist, so she is able to dye fabric using spices from India. So that is her contribution. So her ability is she's able to shop two and craft one, ignoring the color patterns on the board. So that's her special power, because she could dye the fabric, she could dye the yarn. So she is literally living outside of the pattern, outside of the box that is.
That makes so much sense. Is she also able to bargain everyone else down?
No,
insane degree?
There is no bargaining in this play. Although there could be house rules. Who knows how people play their game.
If I'm playing the auntie at home, I'm telling you.
My house, my rules.
Yeah, the whole thing is I'll take it for two and no more.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Yeah.
So if there are, I've heard of house rules where people do batter at the bazaar here, but that's not necessarily the case. And what's so important about Neha and why we love her is that as much as it's important to represent different cultures in games, it's really important to represent different cultures in fiber arts. So multicultural influences in fiber arts, and respecting that and showing homage to that is so important. So that's what Neha does here.
Well, why don't you give us a little overview of the game itself, because it's a podcast, so people can't see it. This is a game where you're building yarn characters, right?
Yes. So this is a yarn resource management game. So if you crafters, knitters out there have too much yarn in your stash, this is you'll understand that that's some yarn going off in the stash. Basically, you shop for yarn, you follow these color patterns at the bottom of your board, and by completing these patterns, you could complete projects that everyone is competing for. So this is the project board. So someone requested 2 blankets for winter is coming, and we're all fighting to complete 2 blankets to get these 20 points for winter is coming.
And we got the game designer here.
Yes.
Adam is.
Hi,
Adam
yeah.
McCrimmon.
Hey, I'm Sandeep.
Nice to meet you.
Omar.
Nice to meet you.
We were beckoned over by the call of Niha. We saw. We were
Yes.
like, I was like, Mamaji, like, what are you doing on a billboard? Like, I gotta come over and check it out. So.
She's dyeing yarn. She's choosing her colors,
How
and
did
she's.
you come up with this game? What was the inspiration?
Yeah. So years ago, when we were repping our very first game, Robot Lab, I met another fan of board games, and her and I were talking, and she was a crafter, and she was talking about how in crafting you always have so much yarn and you don't know what to do with it, and you're always getting new yarn because it's beautiful and you love it, and it just felt like a really fun, cozy world to be in. And the gamer in me, the set collection and the resource management of like, ooh, yarn. Right, I need a certain amount, I need certain colors, I need certain combinations. It started clicking in my brain of like, oh, yeah, I want to do that. That sounds fun. That sounds like a cool puzzle to play. So we designed the game back originally in like 2018, and when I first designed the game, it was mostly cards. The game was a mostly card game, and it was we had locked design. We had finished testing. We were on our way to Kickstarter, so we were doing all the production work for Kickstarter. And I woke up late at night in July. I can't remember what day. It was like 2 in the morning though, and I woke up and was like, man, there's something about it that doesn't feel right. And that night, I drafted out a concept of redesigning the game to be bits and pieces and tiles and all those things.
You wanted it more tactile. I mean, you're crafting.
Exactly.
So you wanted to be like a crafting.
That was exactly the nugget that I felt and went, oh, I have to redesign this.
Oh wow! Was everybody so mad at you?
Oh yes, absolutely. Our head of production over there, Jordan,
You guys still don't talk to each other.
the next morning, he woke up to an email, a spreadsheet, and a bunch of drafts on paper, pictures from me of like, this is the new concept for where we're going with our travels.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he went, dude, we locked design.
Yeah.
We're going to Kickstarter in 2 months. What?
Yeah.
And I was like, right, but search your feelings. You know this to be true.
Yes.
And the first time we put it together, and we just used like bits from the game crafter and just prototyped it out, the tactile feel of moving the bits and getting the pieces, like that, it sealed it for us.
Yeah.
I mean, is there not anything more auntie energy than no, we can do better. Yeah, exactly.
Last minute changing up. You know
what's
what?
the birthday?
Yeah. This needs more spices. We're just going to put it into the Laddoo, and you're going to deal with it. Yeah, totally. I love that, man. Very cool.
And then from there, we were off to the races, and the Kickstarter performed really well. People came out really a lot of support for this. A lot of love went into this to make it real for crafters.
Yeah.
We actually, we have crafting consultants that helped us with this to make sure we have the terminology right, the artwork right. We really wanted to make sure that whether you are a crocheter or a knitter, it appeals to you either way, and you feel represented.
There you go.
And then,
awesome.
on the subject of representation, our company motto is Invent New Gamers. And we believe that it has to be a very wide umbrella. And that everybody is welcome in that umbrella.
Amazing.
So I don't know if you've noticed, but for every one of the player boards, they're double-sided, and we have people that represent the wide variety of gamers on our boards, including with the expansion coming out next year, it'll actually up the player count to 6. You get 2 new player types that we didn't have before, 2 new crafting specialties, and on those boards as well, right? We continue that trend through because we really think it's super important that no matter who you are, when you come to gaming, you can see yourself reflected in what you're playing.
Yeah, I want to play this with a group of aunties at home. Like, all right, Pushpa auntie, let's go. It's your turn. Let's get moving. Like, I'm excited for that. That'd be cool.
The first year that this came out, we did an event at a local yarn shop in Indianapolis in conjunction with Gen Con that year. And it was 20 grandmas
Yes.
It was 20 grannies, and they were excited. They were like, oh, we're going to play a game about knitting, and a few of them had a little trouble with the rules, but a few of them were really cutthroat. Those grannies, oh, man.
I'm not going to show you what I've worked
Oh,
on.
you can't have anything.
You can't see what I'm working on. No.
Oh, you're going for that one? Well, I'm doing it next. It was very cutthroat.
Oh, that's great.
That'd be great television. You guys should have shot that. That'd have been amazing to watch.
Yeah,
so wait, and then you can like actually craft these.
Yeah,
actual...
so, this is a crafting game, and we want it to feel good for the crafting audience. So, in the original game, we included a crochet pattern. Mm-hmm. It's very much a beginner pattern. If you've never crocheted before, it's super simple to follow. You may have to look up some of the acronyms online.
Sure.
But it makes this adorable little octopus.
No way.
Yeah. And this was actually inspired by a fan. The first time that we showed our travels, they were so smitten with the octopus on the side, or on the top of the box, that later that day, they came back and they gave me an octopus.
Yeah, that's so cool.
No way.
Oh, it's right here. This is the original.
Oh my God.
This is the original one they gave
so
us.
like instead of like the $5 taped to the wall for the first money you've made, you got your first octopus that was made for you.
And we went, you know what? We want to include it in the game. We want everyone who gets the game to have a chance to make something.
By the way, it's so stinking cute.
It's so adorable. It hurts.
It's like a little hat for your hand.
It's
I mean, it's
so cute.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that so much because playing games is great. It's the dream. It's what we all love.
Yeah.
But it is at times like that's sometimes as far as it'll go. The curiosity kind of stops there mechanically.
Exactly.
And I love that you're taking it one step further. Like, did you enjoy this art form?
Yeah.
Now go play the game. Go do it. Play the game. Go do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're going to continue that trend. So this was a very simple one we put in our travels.
Right.
But next year we have not only the expansion, our travels magic socks. Gnomes have moved into the yarn bazaar. They will trade you a magical sock for any human-made item.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
It's very
that's
fun.
Great.
It gives you 2 new players as well, but then we're also releasing a series of theme packs.
Okay.
These allow you to re-theme the game you're playing from being the traditional hat, bear, mittens, scarf, and blanket to items in that theme. So we've got an enchanted theme where everything is like fantasy themed.
Great.
We've got cuddles, dinos, and cryptids, where everything is a cuddly animal, a dinosaur, or a cryptid. Each one of those is going to come with a advanced crochet pattern that lets you make the adorable stuffies you can see over our booth here.
Incredible.
Well, this is so cool. I'm so glad we stumbled onto this
I'm glad you
little
did too.
treasure.
Beckoned by Auntie.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is like I have a little 4-year-old, and we're looking at Waldorf schools. I don't know if you know about Waldorf schools, but they're really big into knitting.
Okay.
Like as a part of like the curriculum,
Yeah.
they teach these kids how to knit. So I'm just opening that up to you as a potential market
That
for your
is
game.
awesome.
Hit
Yeah.
up these Waldorf schools, and it's probably a thing.
Oh, mine, I want to make a my first Ravel
There you
game.
go.
Yeah.
Right? Like something for kids. It's like the beginnings of
that's
learning,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Hey, if I make it, you inspired it. So
All
thank
right, there you go.
Oh,
Bam.
look at it making business meetings
What
during
can I
our
say?
interview.
What can I say? Oh, we're live now,
Hello, check.
baby.
Hello, check.
Hello, check.
Hello, check.
Hello.
Check.
Hello.
Cash.
You
Hello,
should do
check.
it like, when our
Jai
parents were on the
Shri
phone with India. And, like, my parents, I don't know if you had this
Yeah.
phenomenon, but when you're on the phone with India, you're just screaming into the phone. They're just screaming into the phone. And then even after reception got better over the years, they still had to, it was just out of sheer habit.
I
They
still
had
do
to
that.
scream in the
It's
phone.
generational. It's like
Yeah.
trauma. Like I haven't even broken the cycle yet. My kids do it too.
Okay, let me introduce who you're listening to right now. This is Aalok Mehta, who did the music. He was one half of the original composition team that did the music for DesiQuest. We ran into him because he is a East Coaster. He lives in New York now, but originally from Philly.
The
right?
Philly area, yeah.
Yeah. We had a whole conversation earlier off pod, but Questlove would not say that you were from the Philly area, correct?
No. None of the roots would say I'm from Philly because I'm actually from Cherry Hill, which is over the bridge. Even though geographically I grew up closer to where the Eagles, Flyers, and Sixers play than a lot of people who claim they're from Philadelphia. But that's for a different podcast, I think. Yeah.
And folks, if you're listening and you're like, but the Roots wouldn't really say that. They did. We're referencing a real story that happened.
Yeah, they did, in fact, say that to you.
Yes, Cherry Hill ain't Philly. I think it was the, yeah.
Amazing.
So speaking of musicians,
Yeah.
you did the music for DesiQuest.
I did. Myself and John Piscatello, who is amazing, incredible, talented composer. The two of us collaborated on it, and it really was a true kind of mix of East and West and orchestral and folk and Indian classical and cinematic and fantasy and all those great things that I've been wanting to do. So I'm super grateful to be part of this team and be a cog in the wheel of this first historical. People have used historical a lot lately. Everything's historical, but it is cool. It's really, it's very. I'm super grateful to be part of this team. It's very awesome. So yeah.
You took like a, I don't want to say scientific, but maybe scientific, but like a historical approach to creating the music for DesiQuest, which I think is super unique. Can you speak to the ragas and like how, your process for creating the music for each of the characters?
Sure. So I've always wanted a project to sort of kind of beta test these philosophical ideas I've had about Indian music and how that it's actually not my idea, but the roots of a lot of Indian art comes from this ancient text called the Natya Shastra, which is it's one of the Upanishads, one of like the Vedic texts, and it is basically a manual on acting, on art, on dance, on everything. And they have these 9 sort of variables called the rasas, which are different emotions. And each character for me in DesiQuest, I sort of assigned certain rasas which later in Indian classical music became what's known as raga, which is sort of a loosely translated into like a system or a melodic framework by which to create music. And so we kind of like JP and I both, and him coming from the Western background, who had knowledge of different modes as well, we kind of decided, okay, Morka should be this sort of, a lot of it was from, what I got from Sandeep, and, the briefs you guys gave were very specific in terms of describing the essence of a character. So we kind of just went, I decided to approach it like, okay, you gave me enough, and then I sort of, interfaced it with these 9 rasas, and
so like, for example,
we came up with kind of a loose, inspiration.
I want to get like a specific example where like, so obviously Ash, you like went for like sexy probably. I assume
it was like too sexy. It was like too sexy.
Yeah.
Like they're sexy, and then it's like too sexy.
That's 2 of the 9 are sexy and too sexy.
Yeah. Sexy.
And like Murka was like too sexy.
Yeah, and Murka was like too sexy.
Like
It's like too sexy. Like it was like it's a little bit more like, just like like it was like a different chakra from which we emote the too sexy.
Right.
It was like more like You have to study Kundalini yoga in LA to kind of really get Morka. No, not at all. But
how did you go about like assigning? Because you told me that there was like a graph or a table that you like created for each of the characters or something like that. Like,
I'm not gonna give up secret sauce in the chaat masala.
What?
Oh no, you want us to?
I
Okay.
get into it.
Okay.
If you don't want to, you don't have to.
Of course. No, we definitely part of the workflow with John and I was kind of like sharing all of our sort of creative ideas, and we sort of came up with a spreadsheet that had certain kind of thematic, melodic ideas based on the different characters. And then once we got into it, it was really just kind of a point of departure. And then we scored like any job, and it sounds very philosophical, but it did help to kind of index certain character traits with certain melodic ideas, if that makes sense.
I think it's super cool. What do you think?
Is it too sexy?
It's very sexy.
It's too sexy for us. Okay, so we talk a lot on our show about like with chakras and chakra check-ins.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is like what's the driving force? What energy do you lead into this? So for you in music composition and thinking about music, what do you think is your guiding, like the part of your mind or your soul that keeps you creating music that is music is the clarifying element of this for you?
Oh, wow.
What chakra does it spawn from?
Yeah.
For you.
Wow. I didn't know we were getting this intimate, guys. This is too sexy. This is just too sexy.
Funny interview. Show all your chakras.
Yeah, DesiQuest is kind of like root into Hara, into no. It's yeah. I mean, listen, you guys are I would say there's the range of storylines and characters within DesiQuest that kind of explores all these realms. I mean, there's certain things that are, it never gets too dark. Like, it's always within the framework of entertaining, buoyancy, and fun. So we didn't want to make it like too dark, but there's moments like where we get into it, like with the battle themes and the jungle theme and the mountain theme. Like I specifically had ragas that we wanted to use as our point of departure that were kind of darker and more angsty and kind of had a little bit of unrest to it. But then a lot of just sprightly stuff and Sitara, Anjali stuff is very Bollywood fun, but there's still an element, of romance and, within that. And then with Morka, we really wanted to have a certain warmth and sort of a creative, almost like maternal quality at times that was very soothing, but also kind of scientific. So, we would add synths and layers that kind of, made sense for that. And Ash was very much like a traveler, longing. I wanted to go Lydian mode, Rag Yaman, 70s, Pink Floyd, B-side kind of vibe, we had...
If you play the melody to Wizard of Oz, if you play Ash's song...
The melody to Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. No, if you play the Ash's melody to Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
yeah.
And then,
it lines up perfectly.
You see God.
Right? Yeah, you see God.
Yeah, you do.
You become fully realized, and you ascend. You achieve samadhi.
Yeah, that's season 7.
Season 7.
Yeah.
Can you speak to because
DesiQuest is really a cult. I think
the
that's
hope.
what I just yeah.
If we're gonna succeed, we need to be a cult. I mean, that's where we need to get.
And again, folks, you can support this at DesiQuest.com.
Go to patreon.com/DesiQuest and subscribe to our cult, and that would be great.
Our leadership training module, which will be released posthumously.
So this was kind of your first introduction into TTRPG, yeah? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, what a cool way to get into it. I kind of just, by default of, having to be involved with this, had to learn a little bit, and very cool. And probably more accessible, given that, these are brown people kind of playing brown characters. And so I thought, that kind of... For somebody who wasn't maybe drawn to it prior to DesiQuest, this really, I think that a lot more people will probably get into it. I think this could be a catalyst for, more Desis just getting into RPG stuff.
I think that's the hope, for sure.
In terms of inspirations and thinking about themes in general, if you could assign Laddoo Auntie any existing vigilante or superhero theme, what would it be? What do you feel from Laddoo Auntie?
I would say, so for me, Laddoo Auntie, and I hope we kind of encapsulated that in the music, was I was thinking sort of very kind of almost lazy, languid, slow, unassuming auntie who then all of a sudden will pull out a rolling pin and chase you and be spastic and it's kind of like Yoda in Attack of the Clones. It's very unassuming, and then all of a sudden does this crazy Count Dooku fight, and then back to limping away. So I approached Laddoo Auntie kind of like that. I wanted Laddoo Auntie to have this apparency of very unassuming, and then all of a sudden And so I think we tried to accomplish that a little. And then I also wanted to make Laddoo Auntie kind of have a South Indian musical component, because Rekha being South Indian, I don't know, I just thought there would be an excuse to have a Carnatic classical, the Indian classical from the South. So we hired a South Indian classical violinist to do these kind of intense sections in the Laddoo Auntie theme. So yeah, hopefully if you listen to it, when we release the soundtrack, you can kind of track that a little. So hopefully it's there. We did go for that.
What TTRPG show does? It's crazy. We're hiring South Asian classical violinists. This is amazing. I mean, really, you and JP brought so many of your resources and talents around you into the show. It's like we're so thankful for that. I want to speak to also, because this show is ABCD, and just speaking to the sort of the American-born Desi experience. Can you in 30 seconds or less? No, I'm just kidding. Or just I guess because you're not just a composer, and not that that's a just, but also an actor. You're on the show The Chosen. You told me you're doing a movie that just came out. Like, just being an artist, a South Asian artist. Like, can you speak to that journey a little bit? Like, how did it kind of begin for you, and where are you at now?
Oh, wow. I mean, in 30 seconds or less.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think growing up, specifically, I know you guys are called ABCD, this podcast, but, growing up, having been exposed to, Philly and, Western music and Indian music, like it's you couldn't escape kind of the 70s Bollywood, 80s Bollywood of your parents, but I also grew up playing in rock bands, and I studied harmonium as a kid.
Oh, wow.
So I learned Indian music, was like my first instrument was a harmonium. So kind of, and then I went on to keyboard, but I always had that sort of Indian training in how I approached the keyboard and how I approached music. So it was, I mean, I would say it's, it was less sort of a plan than more, it was more kind of just, the way.
Did you always want to be in the arts?
Yeah,
Is that, and were your parents cool with that, or?
Yeah, my parents were actually very supportive, so I was kind of lucky. But yeah, no, I remember going to the U2 concert in '87 with my
Bono someday.
Yeah, basically I was like, I went with my brother, I tagged along with my older brother and a bunch of people, and I was like, oh, this is cool, like a lot of people together at a rock concert, and then I studied sitar in college. And went to India to study music, and just felt like this kind of calling for Indian music. And so I started off as a musician first, and then my brother made a movie called American Chai, which was like an indie film where I got to be in it and play a musician.
It's like the OG, Indian American show, movie.
show,
Yeah.
We were one of the first. It was like us. And then there's American Desi.
Yeah,
with
right.
Cal and Rizwan and a bunch of people. And then there was like maybe one or two other movies. But yeah, it was at the time, it was kind of like a lot of us, our hero's journey, our mythic kind of coming of age story was like, that generational thing where, we wanted to be artists and our parents were kind of navigating being, immigrants and all of that. And it really is lovely now. Here we are with like DesiQuest, like, 23 years later. And it's like mainstream more, and I think it's really exciting for me to kind of come full circle with that and be involved in like an Indian first again, and I got to be in Bombay Dreams also as an actor. That was the first Broadway show. And I guess it's dawning on me now, right in this moment, like how cool this is. Like,
you're the guy.
It's really,
you're the connective tissue.
I mean, I'm I just want to be, some part of this. Like, it's really cool. It's definitely, I mean, they say, like, if you can think of anything else to do, like, don't be an artist, don't be an actor, because, it does take a certain amount of masochism to do what we do, like, it is crazy. So for me, I mean, it's like, I wish I had, like, an answer to that was, intellectual. It's more kind of just like, I really can't do anything. I really suck at everything else. So, and I can sort of get by on Desi projects, in what I do.
Well, thanks for bringing all your non-suckery to the show DesiQuest. I mean, I think you can hear the love and attention to detail in the show, in the soundtrack, and it just adds that extra level, the extra dimension of authenticity and just the uniqueness that I think you just don't get out of shows like this usually.
Ekdam sexy. Ekdam sexy. Hashtag Ekdam sexy.
Our lawyers are saying verify that hashtag before you start putting it out there.
Last question for you. Let's put the spotlight on you. Let's really shine this. If you had a theme as a person, what would your theme be? To celebrate in the show, lots of times we're like, this is what I appreciate about the other person, and this is what I appreciate about myself. So for you, what are the aspects and characteristics that you would highlight musically?
Oh, wow. That's tough. That's tough. I guess it depends on what version of me is part of the story and in what context. But yeah, I mean, I would say I would hope that whatever music that I am sort of kind of whatever platform or framework of music from which I'm operating would be sort of like tolerant enough, improvisational, and still following a structure, but also open to like change and whatever is needed in the moment. Not too fixed, not too probably kind of like a little bit like maybe the Laddoo Auntie theme. Like it's just like a little bit minimal and then spastic and kind of everything in between.
Real quick, as a final last question.
Yeah.
What is the what kind of D&D character would you want to be in the world of DesiQuest?
Wow.
Would you? And we can help you a
I'd
little
probably interesting. Wow. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. Maybe like one of those like the Druncle. Like the uncle at an Indian wedding who's like you love, but is also a little embarrassing.
Yeah. Like you're like excited that he's there for the first 2 hours, and then you're like, don't hang out with him after 9 p.m.
Exactly.
We don't follow Druncle to his second location.
Yeah, like who's gonna take him home?
Yeah.
Has he had his meds?
That's amazing.
You have to try this whiskey. Not with you, we don't. Not with you,
What
Druncle.
class would Druncle be? Maybe help him out with a class.
Oh.
Or like
I mean, honestly,
Is he a spellcast?
I want to
just
say barbarian. I want to say barbarian.
Laddoo Auntie and Druncle, 2 barbarians in a pod, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I'd want to be Druncle G, the J-I, so there's respect.
Oh, like self-appointed Druncle G.
Or like
so he's that guy.
Pandit Druncle, or something.
Okay, so there's a multi-class with maybe a sorcerer there.
monk or something.
Or a monk, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Sandeep. You guys are awesome. DesiQuest is awesome, and it is just too sexy to be a part of this.
Too
Sexy.
sexy.
Ekdam
And for
Ekdam
context,
sexy.
we are screaming too sexy in a hotel lobby right now. All right, everyone. We are joined by James Brent Isaacs, international thumb wrestling champion. Is that correct?
Yes.
you verify that?
2013 World Thumb Wrestling Champion. Yes.
And can you give us some context as to what a thumb wrestling champion, what that means?
Yes, it means you go to England and represent your country and thumb wrestle. That's it.
The end. Period.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Where in England do they hold these championships? Is it? Is in the same place?
Yeah, it's in Suffolk, which is in Lowestoft in the UK. So it's about an hour and a half north of London. And yeah, I was the first American to ever compete, and then the first American to ever win. And I think I set the world record for fastest pin in like my second match or first match, somewhere around there. So
this is going to be a drubbing, but not just a drubbing. You're going to teach me some technique
Yes.
as well. Okay, great. I'm so excited because I'll be honest, I fancy myself a very good thumb wrestler.
Everyone does.
Does everyone do? I think I'm good. Like I always used to joke that like, if there was professional thumb wrestling, or professional wiffle ball, those are the 2 things that I think I would do really well in.
Yeah.
I guess I'm about to find out whether I'm even remotely close to ascribing myself being really actually good at thumb wrestling or not.
We will. Yes,
We're
we
about to
will find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, how do we do this?
All right, basic rules here. We're going to go very simple. Elbows free. Don't need to keep them down or anything.
Okay.
It's just a very simple 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a thumb war to start.
Yeah.
And then you have to win by pinning the other person and saying 1, 2, 3, 4, I win the thumb war.
Oh, I win the thumb.
And
Okay.
you say that as fast as you can.
Okay.
And then that's it.
I
Very
just want to
simple
go ahead and put your thumb down for a second.
Sure.
Just want to describe that I'm not in my thumb weight class. I don't know if that's a thing, but there should be because like I think my thumb is about 1/3 of your thumb.
It's quite all right. It's all about technique.
Okay.
You'll find out.
All right. Great.
So,
Okay.
right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war.
1, 2. Oh wow. He's already done better than most.
Come on, let's go.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I win the thumb war. No, you got out. You got
got
out.
out, I
You
got
out. Okay.
God, it's so the reach.
Yeah. You really want to win. This is nice. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the thumb horn. That was good, though. That was good.
Okay, how can we get better?
Around. Okay.
How can you get me better?
Thank you for watching ESPN.
ESPN hot.
Nice.
I feel even that I made an attack at all, I feel good about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you should
Okay.
you'd definitely be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of potential.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a few tricks.
Yeah.
You practice a little bit.
I'm so excited.
You'll be able to compete. So essentially, what's happening here are two things for my technique.
Yeah.
So the first is everyone in a thumb wrestle usually just tries to overpower their person.
Right.
So knowing that they're going to lunge forward,
Right.
instead of like going back or trying to like go at the same time, I dart at an angle.
Okay.
Downwards. And that allows me to then hook
Get
at the
sideways.
base.
Oh, that was like your first move.
Yeah.
You went, and then
So here, I'm at the bottom of your thumb, so I'm at the whole, you have no range
so
of motion
hard
at
to
that
get out,
point.
though.
Yeah.
There's actually
So-
a classical Indian text about thumb wrestling written
in the Upanishads. yeah.
So
Amazing.
9 times out of 10, you do this simple move, you get them really quickly.
Can I try it? I
There's
want to
no
try it.
end. Yeah,
Try it.
absolutely.
So it's like you dart and then
Yeah.
you go here.
And then you just hold down as hard as you can.
Yeah.
And I can't, there's nothing, I don't have space, I don't have strength, there's like, it's all, the
Oh,
whole range
okay.
of mobility is done.
Crazy. Okay,
Now
cool.
the second technique here is if you actually do get pinned,
Yeah.
right? So
Right,
it's
okay.
pretty easy. So actually we'll switch. Pin me,
Okay.
right? So you're holding on hard as you can, hard as you can. All right, I can't break that. I can't force myself out of that. That's good. All right, keep going, hard as you can. Good. Cool. So
So that
this
was
is
super easy. Yeah.
So this is where the physics come in, right?
Yeah.
So instead of pressing against you and your power,
Yeah.
I'm just using yours.
left,
So instead of pressing upwards, I press down with you, and that allows me to slide out the back
Oh,
there.
I love that. Okay.
And that's it.
Is there
So-
is there a resist, like, is there a move that I can make to prevent you from doing that, or not really?
No, not really. Like at this
Yeah.
point, it's just about like wanting it. Like if they're really holding down tight, it's gonna be harder. But for the most part, just keeping calm, remembering to press down
Like
and
you
then
have,
go
you
out.
have a second. They have to say the things.
Yeah.
So you
have
okay.
some time.
Right.
So
Let me try
like
that.
this is more offensive, and then this is more defensive. But yeah, so if I
okay.
got you
So
just
here,
pretty simple like that. Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
I
That's all
love
it
it.
is. He learns quick, folks. He
Yeah.
learns quick. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. 2024, baby.
2024.
The
you can do
first Indian American
Yeah.
representative. I mean, I got my coach.
it. I will back you
I'm
the
calling you on
entire way.
weekends.
Yeah. Sounds. I will be your Yoda.
And if you
That's
win,
so cool.
the British have to give us back
The
everything.
Kohinoor. The Kohinoor is ours.
at ThumbCon.
Thank
Dude.
you, Tiger
Thanks,
Monkey
man.
Yes.
himself.
That was amazing.
That was awesome.
Tell us your name.
Oh, James Brent Isaacs, aka Tiger Monkey, World Thumb Wrestling Champion, 2013.
Is that your thumb wrestling name?
That was my thumb wrestling name.
Tiger Monkey.
Yeah.
How did you come to that name?
Because I pounce like a tiger, but I'm agile like a monkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. Do you have a name for me? Can I be anointed a name from you?
Oh, I can't do that on the spot.
Also
Yeah.
Tiger Monkey, but
No. That's not. That's
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like
Bengal
or like what? Isn't there like in football it's like Megatron and then there's Minitron?
Yeah.
So is there? It's like Kitty Baby Monkey. I don't know. Okay,
Kitty Baby Monkey is
we'll
close.
work on
yeah.
it. We'll work on it.
I mean, if you want it like Tiggy Mononoke.
Tiggy
Oh,
Mononoke.
okay.
I like Tiggy Mononoke. I'm coming
right.
for you, 2024 Suffolk. Prepare to suffer, Suffolk.
Hey gang, it's me again. Before we hop into the next segment, I wanted to do an official introduction because we were rushing around the convention floor and bumped into our friends Elise Rezendes and Gabe Hicks over at the Mythic Grove Productions booth, and we wanted to sneak in and chat with them about their Session Zero system, which is amazing. So you're about to hear us play through the Session Zero system, which is a system where you essentially get to form relationships in your games, form identities in your games, build out character, build out the world, get a sense of where your narrative is going, all before you start the first second of your first session. So we're about to hop into that, but since we were running around, we didn't really like officially do a proper introduction, so I just wanted to knock that out. Make sure you understand that. So here is our interview with Elise Rezendes and Gabe Hicks as they escort us into a cool secret room at the Mythic Grove Productions booth at PAX U.
Okay, you're the guy.
All right, we're here with our Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. We're going. Okay. We're being led.
Oh, we're in trouble.
We're being led. Yeah.
Where are we going? Where are you leading us?
Actually.
Oh my God.
What?
Wait, it's a room full of boxes and corpses.
Keep going.
What's happening in here?
No, they're done. I got rid of them.
We're recording right now. We're recording. Wait, there's another room. Why is there another room?
Welcome to the speakeasy.
Is
Don't
this
worry
the
about it.
sex room? What's happening?
Look, no.
Speakeasy, baby.
Legally, no.
If my lawyer asks, you were never here.
Got it.
Legally,
Okay.
we can't say that there was.
Yeah. This is
Yep.
crazy. There's chairs and everything.
Oh my
There's a
God.
lava
We also
lamp.
have a little HEPA air filter if anybody needs some tea.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Amazing. COVID is not allowed in this room.
This is incredible. We are here with our good friends Gabe and Elise. How you both doing?
Tired as hell.
So
Yeah.
fucking good, so
Yeah.
fucking tired.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Like
see
we're
the
all
two sides of the
there.
coin. Yeah.
Oops.
We are here in the speakeasy room here at the Session Zero System booth.
Mythic Grove booth.
It was a Mythic Grove
You're doing
booth,
great.
but here, thank you very much. Sandeep was like, "You do it," and I was like, "This is a bad interview." stuff.
We're here at the Mythic Grove
It was a
booth
Mythic Grove booth,
that
but-
has the Session Zero system for sale.
It's a pack exclusive.
Why am I on the show when you could have Gabe handle this?
Because they needed someone cute.
You're so pretty. we needed the glasses. We hired.
I
the
have glasses.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
And I have the haircut.
But do you have an array of a glasses collection like Omar does? I don't think you do.
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
And
Gabe
you
does.
can't prove otherwise.
Do you guys want to have a glasses off?
It's audio.
That's called being blind.
And losing your thing.
Yes.
Well, I had the pleasure of playing this a little while ago for
Whoa.
testing it out.
What'd you think?
I
Answer
loved it.
honestly.
This was like last year, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I had a great time. It was of all the sort of like and there's not many that I've seen folks roll out with to be like, hey, let's take this character building seriously. Let's take like diving deep into your character's background seriously.
You want to build a character right now?
Yeah.
Hey, did
Yeah.
you know that your name's in the book?
I didn't know that.
What?
This is the first time I'm finding out about this. I didn't know that.
No big deal. You're credited
What?
on the game.
Did you know this, Sandeep?
No. Why would I know that?
No, we told everybody but you.
Yes,
That's so
No, you were one of
funny.
the groups that did some of the first kickstarting.
Yeah.
Play testing. It was amazing.
Oh my god, what a dream. Okay, well, let's do this.
Yes. Let's draw your.
Okay.
So there are 3 steps to it. There is legacy, bond, catalyst.
Mhm.
Legacy is where you are coming from and part of your origin.
Yes.
Bond is someone that is relevant to your story, someone that we can include in this world. And catalyst is what set you on this adventure to become who you are. So let's start with your legacy. Go ahead
Okay.
and pull.
Here we go. Right here from the top.
Should this be the character that you play at our game
Maybe.
in
Oh,
2
the
hours?
pressure's on.
Mindful.
Mindful.
Right.
Gorgeous art.
So here are the things that I want you to pay attention to when we're asking these.
Okay.
This path represents the many ways in which your character story can begin, what people and places they hail from. A person can become who they are because of or in spite of their origins. So pay attention to that when I read for you.
Okay.
Mindful. You were raised to respect and live in harmony with nature's power. What secret did you learn from your upbringing that others may not know about this region? What did it take to adjust to the more metropolitan world around you, and what do you cherish most from home?
Oh my gosh. Okay, off the top of my mind, a secret that I'm aware of is that where I'm from, if you are quiet and patient enough, you hear the trees speak to one another. They whisper. Adjusting to the metropolitan area, those trees don't talk. And they're blocks apart, but they don't speak with one another. They don't even speak to themselves. And so the thing I miss the most from home, I think, is that breeze blowing through that carries the words from one tree to another.
That's deep.
Well, I'm already crying.
That's a GM gift.
Well, then let's go into your bond then.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna set this card right here.
Please.
Keep an eye. Okay, here we go. We're on Bond now, and I've got Elder.
Ooh,
Beautiful art
So
again.
Dakota Curry did all our art. They did an incredible job. This path provides archetypes to represent the different kinds of people that may have had the most lasting impact. This can be an impact for good or for ill.
Oh, okay.
You can just as easily have been changed by someone being in your life from next door or worlds away.
Oh, wow.
They may play a pivotal role in your story, but are you even a footnote in theirs? Perhaps not yet. Pay attention to when we ask you to talk about your elder, a person of great authority with the ear of many. How did you first catch their eye? What happened to show them your untapped potential and importance? How do they choose to invest in you, and has your opinion of them changed with time?
Oh, interesting. Oh, let's get complex with this, if that's all right.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm gonna, since my original question for Legacy had to do with getting to a metropolitan area, I'm gonna say that this is a person who is like maybe within like the government, like a local council member, who I caught their eye when I was volunteering at a local community garden, and they, unbeknownst to me, kind of latched on and were like, this will be someone who I'm gonna like tutor, but also I'm using them to be like, look how good I am with like the youth, capitalizing on that ingenue. And I very much picked up on that and had a distaste for it. But as time is going on, I'm starting to question my own gut instinct of, but underneath all the gross politic, is there actually a core of good that this person started off maybe where I'm at? And I'm starting to question that. I'm starting to question my assumption of this is not a good person.
Love that. We're going to move on to the catalyst next. Now, this one's a little bit different. This one has two options, a constructive and a destructive option, because not every rogue needs a tragic backstory. So I'm going to read you two options, and you're going to pick the one you like.
Oh my God.
They're making very delightful faces right now.
That's so true. Here we go. I've got number 16, incredible art of this statue, this giant head that's weeping. A place hidden, a realm revitalized.
So a place hidden, done so to protect the secret from getting out and endangering others, or a realm revitalized. With enough time, almost any wound can be healed. Do either of those off the top of your head feel like they fit better with the story that you're creating for your character?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say, we had the dichotomy of the countryside, the trees whispering, metropolitan, no, the trees don't whisper. But now and the individual is here, rotten to the core. But as time is going on and I'm getting to know people, I'm starting to wonder, is that not just a construct that could crumble easily? Is the metropolitan itself not built upon the land of whispering trees?
So you're going more realm revitalized?
Yes.
Great. So then your questions are, by what force was this land first damaged, and what has been done in the aiding of its mending? How much time did it take to do such work? Who's championed this endeavor? What lesson was learned in those lands, and at what cost now that they are being mended?
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's say that the foundation of the metropolitan was like someone who wanted to build an oligarchy, wanted power, wasn't comfortable with magic being a natural entity, and wanted to be more in the social construct of it. So built a city, said that I'll protect you from beasts, creatures on the outside, danger, sickness. Let's come together. Let's build walls to trap ourselves in so I can rule this. And in trying to bring back what was there before, it's starting to physically crack the buildings, these like community gardens, like the roots that are growing, and that's starting to be the fray of how much do we destroy of what's here to bring back what was before? How much should burn? But also maybe these are people's lives. I now have to weigh, but how much do I respect the, while not maybe the original philosophy, but the effect that has helped people? Is there a harmony that we could reach?
And two things can be true at the same time. There is one loss already.
Yeah.
There can be another. You would then, as your character, would weigh both.
Yes, you're right. Folks, we did this with 3 cards.
That's wild.
Well, here's my favorite part.
Yes.
After everyone has their 3 cards, you go into the amalgam phase.
Mhm.
We've already built our individual backstories.
Yeah.
This is the phase where you now interconnect them.
Mhm.
So if I was also playing with you,
Right.
I would have a legacy, a bond, and a catalyst.
Yes.
And then each player would choose to tie one of theirs to someone else's.
Mhm.
I drew a bond card because I was curious, and I got guide.
Okay.
And literally hearing you talk, I almost feel like my guide is one of the people who was leading that destruction of building the walls, keeping it away, which maybe that affected why my character is so internalized. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to touch magic. Maybe that influences my character not even being interested in at all, because that's what I was raised to believe. That's what I was guided to believe. And you and I have that relation without even knowing it.
And then all of this gets tied up into a bow. If I was your storyteller, I now have places that exist in the world. I have NPCs that are now mine to move and breathe in the world around us. And I have events that are either unfolding, have unfolded, or the ramifications of which we can continue to play out. Those are mine to make the world build out. if this was a pre-existing module we were playing, these are archetypal enough that you could fit them to an already pre-written story. Or if we're building, I'm a homebrew storyteller, I really like doing it like theater of the mind and imagination together. We could build all of these worlds out together.
So cool.
And you are now invested in the places in this world, the people that inhabit them, and the events that are going to be unshaping over the rest of our story.
Okay, roll initiative.
This is gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
Folks,
and
this
there's
is
so much
amazing.
more in that. That is literally like 1/3 of the thing. There's a lot more in here about safety tools and about adding homebrew rules. What is a session 0 for people who are really new? It takes it through all of it. It's a multi-tool that you want to be able to have on you. You won't need every tool every time. I keep saying salt to taste.
Yes.
You don't need it all at once, but you will have it when you need it for the story that you're playing.
I want to just speak from the perspective of someone who's relatively new to D&D and who is hungover and barely caffeinated. That was like, first of all, just a whirlwind to experience. And like, I always marvel at Omar when he does this shit, but I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like that was like like that wasn't written, you guys. Like I don't think you understand. Like Omar was just like, that was like incredible. But also it was just so it you know, it's so clear that how it sparks the creativity. Like you really do set tinder to the kindling of what's already kind of within in such a constructive way. That's so, like that would have been so useful to me coming into D&D, like really not knowing anything. Because like for me as a comedian too, like like my go-to is like, what's the silly haha, like what's gonna get me laughs, because that's where I'm comfortable. And then but then I get into a place like very quickly, even within a one shot, I'll get to a place where I'm like, oh, there's no substance in this character. Like he makes puns about pretzels. Like that's pretty much all I had, you guys. And then someone's like, but what are you fighting for? And I'm like, fuck, pretzels. I'm fighting for more pretzels.
But if
you have this,
if this was going to be a one shot, like all of a sudden it's like, all right, so the trees are now starting to take over this town that you're in, and you have to fight a war within yourself to figure out what is worth protecting. Is it the things going back, or are you protecting the things that exist now? There's a duality in that. Like we could play through a 4-hour charity campaign and you'd be able to motivate something because you care about the world building that we just did.
It just like levels up the quality of the game. I think it sounds
well, this is one run. There are 20 prompts in each category.
60 prompts total.
How did you guys like think of this, and what was the
I love running one-shots. Some people come with 2 paragraphs of backstory, some people come with 19 paragraphs of backstory. It's really hard to make them all feel like they have an equal involvement in it. And especially when you ask new players, what do you want to be? Like if they're like, I don't know, wizard with a knife. Like they don't know what the possibilities are, but when you're able to ask someone questions, then they feel like they can involve themselves and opt in. And it's not just that they have to think of what they are. They get to enjoy who they are and like make it as part of a game and a discussion.
I had a really long-term campaign that I was running for a home game, and one of the first versions of this that I sort of ran for my player about 4 years ago was we had a new group of players. They were like, combat. And then it was like, oh, my stuff. It's about the shopping episode. And then it was like, oh, role play. It was the evolution of people getting more comfortable with the system. And we got to a point where my ranger was like, I know I want a multi-class, but I truly don't. I don't know if my ranger is going to like go with the gods and become a paladin, or if they're going to lean more into like being a Robin Hood hero and being in thieves, because I can't decide. I said, well, let's role play it. I built a place, a person, and an event, and we role played through both of them. And they went to the paladin side of things. They like talked to folks. It was like, all right. And then I had this thiefling kid be like, hey, you can go join your shiny order on top of the city. That system works for some people. Let me bring you to the real world. That's not all glitter and glam. Let me bring you into the shit where people are being abandoned by the system, and we're trying to fix it from the inside. You can go do that, but we're doing the real work here, and people need you here. And my player was like, oh, I die for this kid. He wasn't in my life 30 minutes ago, and now I'm a thief. I'm right here, right now. So we both had different tools that we wanted to bring. We've been using these kinds of things. We wanted to bring them into a collection because a lot of games say, create your backstory, figure out how your party met, and figure out where you begin the adventure. That's a lot of world building to do if you've never done this before. So we wanted to collect all the things that we use and put them together in a game.
This is just good. This is just good. I've had the pleasure of chatting about games with you both, and the fact that now other people get to take those conversations and have it in a form that they can use, that's just great, man.
It's wild seeing someone have no idea what it is, and then in 2 minutes buy all of it that we have. And like it's wild because they're like, they don't they don't ask how much it costs.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, I
I'll
need
take
it.
7.
Yeah, basically. It's like it's just mind blowing.
My favorite thing has been someone will run a demo. We've got 2 demo booths running all weekend, and people will play a game, and they'll go out back into PAX, and they'll grab people, bring them back to the booth, and be like, "Hey, I brought my friends. Don't worry, I got this. Okay, here's the whole thing, right?" Like, and then they run through the game.
Wow.
And I've never experienced anything
That
like
makes
that.
so much sense to me because I have a 4-year-old. I've been introducing him to story dice and stuff like that, and then like by virtue of that, my family, my extended family is like kind of like, what are you guys doing, you know? And I'm like, oh, we should play D&D, like with my cousins that are 55 years old, and they're like, what? And I think they would be so into it, and like this would be such a great gateway into
I have a book
quickly
for you as well.
developing. Okay, amazing. I have another weird use case for this.
Yep.
Because at first, again, low caffeine, not enough caffeine for me, and I was like a little dazed. I was like, I thought at first he was supposed to answer like from his own real life backstory some of these questions. Like, so I was like, oh, I wonder what his memory as a kid like. And I was like, this would be such a great dating tool for like answer these as real questions for your life.
right,
Like,
so that's
who
your
is the
participation
elder in your
side.
life?
Tell us about an ally of yours.
An accomplice, and you're in your actual real life.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
An accomplice whose goals and desires are aligned with your own. What event made you realize the two of you were on the same side? When did you first come to their aid and they yours? What have you faced together thus far? And what do you admire most about the other? In your real life, an actual ally.
I'm gonna go with Anand Shah, who is my business partner with That's Funny. Like, we first met across the table. He came up from the executive side of the studio world, and I was like the creative, like, oh, is high, trying to pitch ideas guy.
Why did you look only at me?
I was like, do you have any weed on you? Is what I was looking. That was the begging is what you saw in my eyes.
No.
To our lawyers, the answer is no. The answer is no, our lawyers.
They could hear the wink on the podcast.
Well, they can now.
But yeah, I think it's him. And what was the last question? It was
the
like,
last question is, what do you admire most about the other?
yeah, his absolute tenacity, and that his heart is like so compassed in the right place. It's so mission focused. It's so about like he keeps pointing me back towards the why instead of the shiny object that my ADHD brain wants of all the things. He's like, why are we doing this? What are we fighting for? And that just keeps me moored and going in the right direction.
Pulling that needle towards the correct direction.
So there you go.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah. Lovely.
A Session Zero game and a dating game.
And
all
a
in
dating
one.
tool, a therapeutic tool. Amazing.
Hilariously,
Thanks,
though, I'm really excited for all the ways that people are going to play the game the way that we didn't design it.
Yep.
I love, there are no rules as written. There's a spot in the very end of the book that just says, like, your imagination is as untenable and boundless as you will let it. Get fucky with it. I want you to break the game and play it the way that you want. We want you to go, like, drive it like a stolen car. Get weird, right? Because it's just...
Maybe not like that.
Drive it like a car that you borrowed.
You paid money for this. Use it how you would like.
No, commit Grand Theft Auto. Amazing.
It's going to be exciting. So we've got a couple
cool.
more hours of PAX Unplugged. We are going to be fulfilling the Kickstarter for our backers before the end of the year, which is very exciting. And then it is going to be available in probably spring or summer of 2024.
Amazing.
Let's go.
Everywhere. Support your local game stores. Everywhere your friendly local game stores are.
Thank you both so much
Absolutely.
for chatting with us.
Thanks for taking the time.
All right. I think.
Over and out from the speakeasy.
I think
Well,
a
that's good,
second date is in order. I feel like we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are at the free play section where just a bunch of games are laid out, and I was drawn to this game, Omar, because to me, it looked like Carrom, right?
Yeah.
So me and my cousin Chetan, we were like, yo, is this just like Carrom? Like, what is this? So for those who don't know, tell them what Carrom is, Chetan. What is Carrom?
It's a game that hurts your fingers.
Yeah.
That uncles and aunties tend to love.
Yes. I think the uncles and aunties really enjoy the pain that they inflict upon their They're little nephews. They're little nibblings.
Yeah. Well, it's also true, I think, that they know how to flick them in a way that doesn't hurt them, but it's something that hasn't been passed down.
Yeah, they don't want to pass it down. Yeah, they don't want. They want you to learn.
It hurts for you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So this game looks fun. So we learned it. It's called Crokinole.
Okay.
Okay. And so we each have a quadrant.
Okay.
And we're all aiming to try to slide it into this hole. Now there are some like nuances to the rules. We go in a turn-based way. It's 2-on-2. Me and you, Omar, on the same team. We're the green team.
Oh, okay.
We're going against Yuvarum and Chetan.
Okay.
Yuvarum and Chetan are my cousins, and we're going to kick their asses. Are you good with that?
Let's do it.
Yeah, okay, great.
Oh!
So not bad.
Whoa!
That was absolutely perfect.
He's my cousin, so he has to help me.
Not enough. Are you kidding me?
No!
That was a good play.
Oh,
I knocked my piece out because I went too hard.
But you took his out too, so we'll take it.
Oh,
that's the most embarrassing.
This is it. This is the last round, right?
This is it.
Yeah.
Oh! Okay, knocked mine out,
Good job,
knocked
good job.
his out. Oh,
And I did it.
Whiffed.
No.
Whiffed.
Wow, I missed completely.
See, and like, look at how the board has changed. Like,
Thank you, that's
you
great.
helped them. You helped them.
Oh my god, this is a hard game.
Yeah, it's tough. It's different. It's tougher than you think.
Okay, anyone's game, folks.
Well,
It is no longer anyone's game. It is now our game.
yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. That's
Great
it.
game.
Great game. Crokinole. Whoo, baby. Wow.
What a time.
What an adventure. We are now back in Dallas, Texas, on a 6-hour layover on our way back from PAX Unplugged, on our way to LA. It was cool to end on the show. Like, basically, you and I had to bounce because we were on the same flight. And we had to, like, right after our DesiQuest live show, we were like, had to kind of hightail it out of there. We tried to get cheesesteaks.
We did. We rushed the cheesesteaks.
And we went
ran through the rain.
We ran through the rain. Went through three different spots in the Reading terminal, and no cheesesteaks.
No cheesesteaks.
They were all closed.
So next time.
But we had to run out, and it was cool to, like, at least for me, I feel like it was like wild to end. It was like a culmination of the whole weekend to end on that insane, joyful, super fun one shot.
It was just the absolute best. Before that, we got to hang out with our friends at Dispel Dice.
Yeah.
And get our hands on some
fancy looking
incredible dice.
Yeah.
I got some Merca dice.
I never knew I was going to be a dice guy.
Yeah.
I'm learning this about myself.
Look at that.
I'm not a collector in any way, really. I'm still very cheap. And so the idea, it feels extravagant to like really fall in love with dice. Like,
Now you got some really fancy dice.
Now I got some really fancy dice, and those are really, really pretty good dice. What's the name of my thing? It was like,
you got Deep Spice 9.
Deep Spice 9. I knew it was a pun with spice, and I couldn't. Yeah, Deep Spice 9. What did you get?
I forget the name of it, but it's as if a bunch of cogs fell into dice as they were being made.
Right, because we asked. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name now.
Rain Cat, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we asked him like what would be best for Merca.
Yes.
And she immediately
knew
exactly the
Went
dice.
directly
They're
for it.
so beautiful.
We got to also play, as you heard, check out a game about yarn, where you get to play as an auntie.
Yeah, I got to thumb wrestle. I'm gonna take those lessons about thumb wrestling away for the rest of my life. Like, that will be influential for the rest of my life. I love thumb wrestling, and so now, like, a part of me really does want to try to become a thumb wrestling champion. Like, I really want to do like a Rocky montage training thing with your buddy Brent.
With James Brent Isaacs, yeah.
Yes, that would be so awesome. It might happen. There might be a Kickstarter.
You're a scrub, Sandeep. I need
spend a year.
Shed lightning, Sandeep.
I gotta work these thumbs out, man. What a wild time. That was so fun. What else did we do? We saw a parade.
Yeah, we saw a Christmas parade. We went to a Christmas village.
Yeah.
We saw a fight break out. And
we saw a brawl.
We saw a brawl.
And the best part of the brawl
was that we were with some friends who are from Philly or Cherry Hill, actually. You heard from Alok, which is another great interview, right? And then the whole time he was like, "Welcome to Philly." Like, he was like, "Yeah." And I was the best part was so we're around an ice skating rink.
Yeah.
like at this magical,
beautiful,
city
Yeah,
hall.
they're playing all
like,
the music.
It's like, the parade just went through. There's like spiced apple cider everywhere, and then just this big. I don't know why I'm laughing, but there was this big brawl all of a sudden breaking out. Why I'm laughing is because I was like, oh, don't worry, there's security there, but the security was a part of the brawl.
Yeah.
They were just also upset and brawling, and then Aalok was like, welcome to Philly.
Welcome to Philly.
But what an ordeal. I mean, I'm just taking away this like incredibly full heart feeling of the viscerally feeling the impact that DesiQuest is having on people.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like-
the thing. Is like afterwards, we had to get hustled out of the hall we were in because so many people were just coming up to chat with us and hang out and just.
And we had a plane to catch, but otherwise I wanted to revel in that.
It was so wonderful. It is overwhelming in the best way.
Yeah.
And
There's something about seeing like a 23-year-old Indian kid who's like in college, like you see a version of yourself, and they're like talking about how moved they are and how they feel like so like unlocked in a way.
Yeah.
I think one of the kids said, he was like, I feel like creatively unlocked. Oh no, wait, that was my cousin that said that. that he said he felt creative. Some kid. He's still a kid to me. He's like 4 years younger than me. He's still a kid. But he was like, I feel creatively unlocked.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, hell yeah. But then there was that other 23-year-old kid that was in our. You weren't there. It was in a panel with me and Anjali.
Oh yeah.
And just talking about how how seen he felt, and I was like, oh man, this is what we're doing this for. This is amazing.
It is just absolutely wild, and for us too, we had a friend who works with nerdy therapeutics, geeky therapeutics,
therapeutics,
and I wanted to just keep it ambiguous and be like nerd therapy, and I was like, we can just say the name.
Yeah, no, wow, we should. It's such a cool mission.
And we were kind of getting to hear about how also like a lot of DesiQuest is being used to discuss like masculinity and Desi culture.
Yes.
Which I didn't even think about.
We're going to have them on the pod because that was such a cool conversation talking about, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Folks from India coming over here working in tech and using D&D to sort of unlock creativity for them. And and it sounds like DesiQuest is the conduit. That's what they're sending them to, like as a required viewing.
It's just amazing.
It's crazy. It's only been out. The show's been out for 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks or something.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you everybody for listening and for being on this journey with us.
Thank you, and to the sounds of Dallas Airport waking up.
Yeah.
We wish you well, everyone.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Adam from XYZ Game Labs. May your chakras be aligned and your
Smothered in
chutney.
You got it.
All right.